like to do those projects that when people look at them, they say, "How did you do that?" This week is one of those projects. Please stay tuned and you can see for yourself how I did this. One of my viewers suggested that I don't normally introduce myself and that I should. So my name is Michael. Welcome to my channel. This week we're going to turn something called a toric. I'm starting with this birch log. And if you don't know what a toric is, stay tuned. You'll find out. I'll show some pictures in a moment. But we're going to start off by making this round as we normally would. And then it'll get different from there. So again, it is a little bit different than what I normally turn. Although I always turn something different. So I don't know that there's anything normal about my channel. But hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully you'll stay to the end. And again, thank you for watching. So here you go. Here's a surprise. This is a Torus. It's basically a tire or an inner tube, and it looks like a bowl from the outside, but then the inside is hollowed out as well. So here I am just shaping the outside, and at this point I just want to get it round. This wood is fairly wet, so it's cutting well, but again at this point focusing on getting it round. Now you can see I had a big piece of bark fly off. Now I was out of the line of fire. By that I mean I'm not standing between the workpiece and the drive center, which is on your left. I was standing to the right, so when that piece did come off I wasn't standing anywhere near it. I'm using my roughing gouge because I am removing a lot of material fairly quickly and it is a bit out of round, so the roughing gouge does a good job at getting it round. Stopping every once in a while. There's still a few chainsaw marks. The top is not flat yet, so I do have to work on that to get it flat. It is holding my speed down a bit as well. Once I get the top and bottom flat, then I'll be able to bring my speed up fairly significantly. Here I'm starting the planning phase, checking the overall thickness so I know how much I've got to work with, because I want it to be as thick as I can so that the torus circle can be as big as possible as well. So whatever the height or thickness of this plank is, that's going to determine the size of my annular circle. All right, I think you can start to see it. It's basically a tire. This center is going to be gone completely. And it's just going to be a circle here and all the way around. Mounting is going to get to be challenging towards the end, but that's generally the shape of it. Now I've just been eyeballing it up to this point. I think I've done a pretty good job. I still have a flat spot here. I'm going to make up a template so I know exactly where I'm at so I can figure out. I could just make it smaller in diameter to get rid of this, but I want to maximize my diameter. I'm shooting for 3. Right now I have 3 3/4. So, maybe I'll even try 3.5. I want to make it as big in diameter as I can. But yeah, it's time to get a template out so that I can start making this a good shape. It is still wet, and put it in my kiln and let it dry for a little bit so that I can dry it out a little bit more because it could go out around. Now again, it's yellow birch. Yellow birch is pretty good as far as cracking goes. It doesn't crack as much as say an apple, which cracks if you look at it funny. Yellow birch is pretty good. The other thing, it's not going to move much because usually it moves because it gets thin. I mean, obviously this is a solid piece of wood, so it's not going to move much. Cracking would be more of my concern. But let's get the template made up and see how good I've done at eyeballing it. So I have a laser engraver, so I cut that pattern out. So I believe I had 3.5 inches thick from top to bottom, left to right here. So that's going to be the diameter of the circle that I want to make. Again, you can see I was pretty close just by eyeballing it. I did have to take a little bit more off the sides just to make it round. When doing a torus using a pattern is a good idea. It allows you to really perfect that shape overall. And there you can see it's a good fit over 75% of it. I still got to work the inside a little bit in order to get that complete circle all the way around. As usual, I keep my tailstock engaged as long as possible, but I've removed as much weight in the center as I can. So now I've taken the tailstock out and I'll just remove that center nub that I was using for my tailstock. At this point, I can make the inside round as well until I get that center disc about as thin as I possibly can. Just keeping in mind that on the other side it's mounted to a faceplate right now and attached with some screws. So that does limit how far I can go. So I started to sand it a bit. It's not sanding well. It's still damp. So I'm going to take it off and put it in my kiln. Normally when you put things in a kiln, you turn them thin so they can dry. This is obviously will never be thin. So at this point, really all I'm hoping to do is dry the outside enough that I can get a good sanding on it. I'll put a sanding sealer on it and put it in the kiln for a day or so, and that'll dry it up enough that I can get a good sanding on it. I'm going to mount it one more time. This is shaped well. I'm pleased with it all the way around into center as far as I can go. I'm going to just hot melt glue that on centered, and then I'll be able to finish the inside past center at least. But I'll try and get this finished as well, and I'm pretty happy with that. So I'll get that finished before I glue this on, because it's easier to reach it now when it's going this way as opposed to being a reverse curve. So let's go ahead and get some sanding sear on it, get it inside the kiln. Now I put it in the kiln overnight and it's down to 15%. It went in at 30, so that was probably a little too quick. Got a little bit of tear out there that I'm going to fix with some CA glue and sawdust. It's deep rather than take the whole thing down. But I have a crack. I have a crack right here. Comes over the opposite side here and here. This has got some spalting in it, so I may put some black. That's already black, so I may use some black CA glue in there. I think it'll be fine. It's not, you know, it's on the side, it's not into half. I'm going to cut this center out so those two cracks, there's one crack that runs across, will become disconnected. So it's very fixable, and I think it'll still look really good. But it's sanding nice now that it's dry. I'm able to get a good sand on it. Yesterday, with the surface being a little wet, it wasn't sanding well, and that's the case. Wet wood doesn't sand well. It needs to be dry. So let's go ahead and get some CA glue into spots that it needs to be, and then we'll take it from there. So I get lots of CA glue on there. Get some sawdust in there. Rub that in, and then I'll actually do some sanding. That'll clean up that residual and it will smooth it out. Take a look. There's where it was. I am getting a bit of staining. I probably sanded the CA glue off when I did that first sand. Yeah, that looks good. Now I'm going to blow the cracks out, and we'll get some black CA glue in there. A couple more spots right there maybe. Yeah, right there. And it's a little punky there. I think that's why I'm getting that's those spots. All right, that's looking good. Let's try some black. Give that a minute to soak in. This is probably the worst of it down here. It's one of those cracks that kind of goes in the direction of the wood, so it's almost peeling off as opposed to going down this way. It's going this way like a slice. I didn't show it, but I mounted this faceplate on a piece of plywood and then hot melt glued it to the top. The reason I did that is because I've got to remove the center. So you can see here, everything is still centered, so everything's running true. So now I'm just going to go ahead and continue to shape the torus on the inside now until that centerpiece becomes free. And just keep in mind that the plywood is in the back, but not attached to the center. I think that'll become obvious here in a second. So now you can see that center is removed, and what you're seeing on the very, very bottom is that piece of plywood. So now I'm able to completely work this top rim all the way to the middle and a little bit beyond. I can actually undercut where that plywood is and work the other side as well. So it's been a fair bit of sanding, but I'm very happy with the shape of this. It's nice and smooth. I sanded it to 80 grit, but I got some repairs to do. You saw earlier, but this was the pith. Unfortunately, I should have went a little further to get rid of that, and I've got a crack here and here. So I'm going to fill that with black CA glue, but before I do, I'm going to put some sanding sealer on it. What that'll do is it'll prevent the CA glue from getting into the surrounding wood and staining it, especially where it's black. Although any CA glue will stain, black is going to be worse just because it's going to be more visible. So by putting this on it, it'll prevent it from getting into that surrounding wood. Black is a good choice for this piece because it's spalted. Whenever I have spalted, then black is a good choice for a filler because I've got black lines over here, I have a black line over here, I have a black line here, so it certainly doesn't look out of place. So we'll give that about 5-10 minutes to dry, and then we'll come back and hit the black CA glue in both of those spots. CA glue does a good job not only filling it, but also stabilizing the wood so that it won't continue to spread. Filling it's important because you want it to feel smooth. You don't want people rubbing their hands over it and catching, feeling rough. That's not a good thing for wood turning. But you also want it to look natural. And like I say, the wood to be stabilized. This is probably going to take 2 or 3 coats. That's a bit wider than the crack, so that will require some sanding. That's why I did it at 80 grit. I didn't go any further. So now that I've got some accelerator on it, that causes that to harden up. So now I've got a base, and now I can just build up on it. And this next one should be a little proud, because that's what you want. So when you sand it off, it's still there. A little proud, and then I can sand it smooth. For those wood turners out there, I had a problem a lot of times using CA glue with accelerant. It would bubble and go white on me. And I Googled it, and there's things you can do just watching your ratios of accelerant to glue. The biggest thing that made a difference is good glue. If you buy cheap glue on Temu or wherever, and you can get them, and the CA glue I think will work fine, but it's going to bubble up. It's going to turn white with the accelerant. A good glue like a Star Bond, I've never had an issue with it going white. All right, that's ready to sand. That's the advantage of accelerant. So I'm ready to sand that. I'll sand it down, and that should be all that we have to do. And then I can sand up with progressive grits after that. So I ended up putting 3 or 4 coats of wipe on poly on this. Now what I need to do is I've got this clamped to my miter gauge, and I'm just pushing it through so that I can make a flat spot on the bottom. And then off camera, what I is I drilled through the bottom so that I could insert this glass tube. Now that bottom section will have a medallion with my logo on it, and I'll glue that in the bottom, which will hold that glass tube in place. I'm very pleased with the way it turned out. The piece of wood has some nice markings. Here it is with a rose in the inside of the Torus. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a comment and let me know what you think.